So now I'm going to try to make the case for the importance of incorporating social-emotional factors into cradle to career. And everything I'm going to be talking about now is coming from a national research perspective. So this isn't locally researched data, but we're looking forward to conducting some of it here. So here's what we think is going to make a difference in the lives of kids. Aside from all the academic outcomes, measuring self-efficacy. Measuring a child's belief that success can be attained through effort. That's self-efficacy. Different from self-esteem, which is how I feel about myself right now. We know, of course, that we can improve self-esteem by focusing on self-efficacy. Focusing on the belief that effort, or that success can be attained through effort. Mastery goal orientation, which is the motivational focus on self-improvement and growth over competition. So rather than really caring about looking good, this is the focus on self-improvement and self-betterment. Because the reality is that when the only thing that matters is appearances and looking good in front of others, a lot of unhealthy behaviors can happen. Cheating is a very smart behavior when the only thing that matters is looking good. It makes complete sense. And if you don't believe me, I will point to the stock market crash of 2008. Right? When the only thing we cared about is turning out good numbers, not about actually improving the quality of our work. It happens all the time. Values, affirming positive values and their importance matters, and I'm going to show you how that matters. And lastly, kids understanding the value of schooling for future success, helping kids firmly believe that learning equals opportunity. And I can assure you now, as the parent of 3 kids who are in the pipeline, 1 in 9th grade, 1 in 8th grade, and 1 in 6th grade, that sometimes this is actually a challenge. They're so far away from the end goal, they have a hard time seeing that learning equals opportunity. And also, many kids know people in their own personal lives who went through the pipeline, did what they were told, and didn't have access to the opportunities that they were all told they would have. And so that really undermines their confidence in the system. Promoting future aspirations and expectations for success. When students expect to attend college or something after high school, suddenly being successful while they're in school matters. Having positive adult relationships and support matters. When kids feel respected and supported by the adults in their lives, they're more likely to seek help from those adults. They're less likely to feel like they're all alone in this. Having positive peer relationships and belonging, feeling that their friends help make them a better person, matters a great deal. And persistence, this motivation to overcome barriers and press on. Now, what I would suggest to you is if you think about the success that you've had in your own life, or the most successful adults and colleagues that you know, they have all these characteristics. They know that hard work can lead to success. They focus on self-improvement. They know what they value, and they know why it matters to them. They know that when they invest in their own learning, that future opportunities can arise. They aspire to something. They have positive relationships, and they persist in the face of challenges. So now I'm going to show you the ways in which this can make a big difference. From a behavioral perspective, when students set goals for what they hope to become or to avoid becoming in the future, that's called a possible self. And the right kind of possible self can lead to changes in behavior, but only if the goals promote self-regulation. So here's a goal that sounds like it could be self-regulated. To get into college, I will study more, turn in all my homework, and ask for help. That is different than saying, to get into college, I'll do better in school. Do better in school is not something we can talk about, we can monitor, we can quantify. This is. And once you get a kid to say a goal like this, then you have metrics that you can follow up with informally with them. Did you study today? Did you turn in your homework? Did you ask anyone for help? Right? Now we can see whether we're regulating our behaviors toward our goal. Or here's something I don't want to become. To avoid getting into trouble, I'll stop hanging around some of my friends and start going to school every day. It's explicit, it can drive behavioral changes, and we can monitor progress. Did you go to school today? Did you find a new place to sit at lunch? Right? So goals and goal setting can be a roadmap to behavioral change, but only if they're the right kinds of goals. And if you're working with youth in this early adolescent to adolescent stage, and you know the importance of specificity when it comes to goals, then you can nudge them in those directions. What do you want next year? I want to do better in school. Well, how's that going to happen? I don't know, I'll work harder. Well, what does work harder look like? When you can get them to say that, then you can narrow their focus. I talked about mastery goals and the motivational focus on self-improvement over appearances. Here's what we know. I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to work with this kind of kid. It's important to me that I learn as much as I can. I want to improve my skills and learn more this year. I know mistakes are okay as long as I'm learning. I want to challenge myself and learn new things. Right? That's the kind of kid we want to work with. And in fact, in a study of standardized math test scores over the span of 3 years, low-achieving kids, this pink line right here, low-achieving kids who thought more like this actually closed their math achievement gap with their high-achieving peers over the span of 3 years. So their growth outpaced the kids who didn't think more like this by half a year. So think about that. Over the span of 3 years, they closed a half a year gap, which means over the span of 6 years, they close a whole year of learning gap. We've done nothing but change the way their motivational focus is directed. Well, let's think about social belonging as an opportunity to reduce achievement gaps. This is a very complex study, so I'm going to look at it so I can say it to you the right way. You take college students, 2 types of college students, both males, white and African American college students, and they've just started college. Now, just starting college is a scary time for a lot of us. The space is new, it's unfamiliar, it's uncomfortable, maybe we don't know anybody. Students who were told that doubts, if they were having doubts about belonging and about negative social events, they were told this is normal at first when you get to college. It does not indicate that you don't actually belong here. It's normal for you to feel out of place. How did we tell them that? We put them in a room and we showed them a video. Researchers showed them a video of a student who looked like them, who was graduating from that same university, saying, when I first got to this university, I felt like I didn't belong. I had a hard time fitting in, people didn't invite me to study sessions, and I began to feel like maybe I didn't belong here. But that wasn't true. I know now that everybody feels like that when they start. And if you stick with it and stay positive, I promise you, you will make better friends than you even had when you were in high school. Lifelong friends. And you'll be successful. Welcome to the university. I'm going to graduate. Have a great day. The other group of kids just watched a video that said, welcome to the university. You're going to love it here. Have a great day. So the only message that changed was, if you feel like you don't fit in, don't worry. Everyone feels like that at first. It's going to be okay, right? Then they turned around and they asked the kids, write a letter to next year's incoming freshmen. What do you want to tell next year's freshmen? The kids who heard that video, what did they tell them? Don't worry. You're going to be fine. You're going to fit in, right? They turned them into a coach for somebody else immediately. This whole intervention lasted an hour. 1 hour at the beginning of college. And look what happened. Oh. This line with the X's in it are African American males who heard the positive social belonging message. The triangle line, African American males who did not hear the message. The dotted line with gray diamonds, white males who did not hear the message. And the dotted line with the black boxes are white males who heard the message. 1 hour. 1 hour of telling African American males that they will find their place and they will be happy effectively eliminated the achievement gap between white and African American males on that university campus. And that gap was closed over a span of 3 years, 4 years. One intervention. Interestingly enough, I was actually sitting in a session with the researchers who conducted this study, and they said that they pulled the kids back in when they were about to graduate, and they asked them, hey, do you remember we showed you that video at the beginning of college? Because they were stunned by these results. So they asked this group of guys, do you remember that video we showed you when you first started school? Yeah, I remember that video. And how it was about social belonging and finding your place and that it was okay to... No, it wasn't a video about that at all. It was a welcome to college video. They didn't even remember the message, but the message made a difference. Now, interestingly enough, this approach to promoting social belonging, even when you feel challenges, has worked in many other settings. For example, they run the exact same study with women in engineering programs. Because women show up at the beginning of their college engineering program, and what's the first thing they notice? Nobody looks like me. Right? Do the same intervention, and it closes achievement gaps. How about values affirmation? Could just remembering what we care about in life make a difference? Here's a group of middle school students who were trained to reflect on what was personally important to them and why. What are things that you have in your life that you value, and why is it important? The other group of kids was given a message to say, think about values that other people value. Not you, just other people's values, and that are not important to you. And why do you think other people might think they're important? So they're both talking about values, but one is values affirmation, the things that are important to me in my life. And the other one is, oh, these might be important to other people, but they're not important to me. We implement that intervention, and this dark line with the black diamonds on it here, these are low-performing African-American students who heard the positive message about values affirmation. These are low-performing African-American students who didn't hear that message. These are high-performing white and African-American students, some who heard the message and some who didn't. Here's what I'd like to point out. You see very, very few changes or differences in the high-performing kids based on whether we gave them the value affirmation or not. But among the low-performing kids, this value affirmation training actually closes the achievement gap by 40%. Why would it be that values affirmation is not as important for high-achieving kids as it is for low-achieving kids? What do you think? They already have it. They already know what they're grateful for in their lives. They're high-achieving kids. They already have a sense of confidence. That's exactly right. But when we're working with populations that are disadvantaged in any way at all, reminding them that getting a B- or a C or a D or an F on a quiz is not the end of the world is a really big deal. These kids are not threatened by the academic environment. These high-achieving kids are not threatened by the academic environment because they're already being successful in it. But low-achieving kids who haven't found their place yet, who are still trying to struggle through it, that environment is very threatening. And helping to affirm that other things in their lives that are valuable and meaningful make a big difference. I will tell you this, and you can think about this in your own life, anecdotally. We've all started new jobs where at the beginning we felt like we didn't fit in and the work consumed us. How many of us, in order to successfully make it through those jobs, had to remind ourselves that, hey, everything new is tough at first and I'm going to be okay. And this job is not my life. This job is my job. My life is my life. I have other things. Not everything about my happiness has to come out of this job. We could be doing the same thing with kids and having a dramatic impact on their academic achievement.